Shudder Boxers, to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional streaming news. And on this episode, we are talking about everything new that is coming to Shudder. And then on a later episode, we're talking about everything new that's coming to Netflix. Honestly, I think Netflix is going to win this month with a pretty strong showing and titles that are coming out.
Yeah. But
that's not what we're here to talk about right now. We're going to talk about Shudder. And let's dive into the first film coming out on August 1st.
Allegoria. A group of artists' lives become unwittingly entangled as their obsessions and insecurities manifest monsters, demons, and death. It's the directorial debut of Power Man 5000 lead singer Spider One. Allegoria stars Chris Fox, Adam Bush, Bryce Johnson, and Scout Taylor Compton, who you may know from Halloween.
Power Man 5000, hoping we can get some good music with this. The trailer doesn't lead you to tell you much about it, and that's the thing that I saw with a lot of these Shudder movies that are coming out.
The trailers.
Very limited amount of detail in the trailers.
Yeah. Enough. I mean, I don't want the trailers to give you too much, like we see with some things, but I mean, more than like 10 or 15 seconds would be great.
Yeah, this was a very short trailer. It looked very disturbing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is going to be a bit of a mind fuck. And I was like, I'm interested in seeing it, but I would like to see a little bit more of a trailer before I invest my time into it.
Yeah.
Because I hate watching those movies where you get like 30, 40 minutes in. It's like, this is really not going anywhere. And I'm just going to turn it off. And then I don't want to watch anything else because it ruins my night. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had that happen.
I may check this one out, but there is a movie on this list that is clearly the winner for Shudder this month that we're going to talk about, and that's coming out the last part of the month. Also now on August 1st is Shudder's usual dropping of collections, and there is the George Romero collection and the Stephen King collection that's being dropped. But first, let's talk about the movies that are being added to the Stephen King collection.
Carrie from 1976, Misery, Salem's Lot, Firestarter, the original, Firestarter, Rekindled, the series, Cat's Eye, and Needful Things.
Now this is the month that is really a good one to catch up on a lot of these classics and revisit some of them. For instance, Salem's Lot. I don't remember seeing this one fully through, and essentially what this is, it's a mini-series like Stephen King's It, which I did not like, so this could have been one of the deterrents that I stayed away from Salem's Lot, or just to not get through it. But this is based on his 1975 novel. The movie, or the miniseries, was released in 1979, and go figure, what is it about? A writer. He is moving to a small town which has a vampire problem. So that seems to be the theme for this month. There's a lot of vampire movies.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Now, this may be something to get you a little revved up and hyped up for the remake, which is coming out in April of next year. And for me, that's what I want to do. I want to watch the original since I haven't seen it all the way through, or to see if I did see it and just forgot about it, and then prepare myself for what's coming ahead. Now, George Romero's collection is pretty sweet as well, and that features several movies.
Yeah. So we have Land of the Dead, Monkey Shines, The Crazies from 1973, and Season of the Witch.
Now, I don't know if I can go back and watch the original Crazies because I like the new one so much.
Have you seen the original one?
No.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen it either, and I really, really like the new one. So I'm like afraid kind of to go back and watch 1973 because I don't know that it's gonna, in my mind, I don't know that it's gonna hold up.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think if we have some time we should probably fit this in. But if you're looking for a good zombie movie, Land of the Dead is it.
Yeah, so, we really liked that.
Now, Land of the Dead features a great cast. You have Dennis Hopper, you have John Leguizamo, you have Eugene Clark.
Oh my god, you said his name right.
Yeah. You have Asia Argento, you have Easter egg guest appearances by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, And if you have not seen this, essentially what happens in this film is the world is now more populated by zombies than it is the actual human race. And Dennis Hopper's character essentially is the ruler over the elite. Yeah. And they have this little tower that's built where all the rich now live.
Yeah, and it's got everything, right? It's got like grocery stores and a shopping mall and restaurants and apartments. So it's essentially got everything you need.
It is called Fiddler's Green, and surrounded by Fiddler's Green is the slums and poverty. Yeah. So essentially here what you have is almost like real life. You have the rich doing what the rich does, and you have them just not giving a crap about anybody that's down at the bottom. So John Leguizamo is essentially the hired gun or the leader of his like elite squad that goes out there and hunts zombies and for supplies and stuff like that. Yeah. And things start to cave in on themselves when Big Daddy, played by Eugene Clark, is evolving, and so are the other zombies, where they're actually almost able to talk, and they're figuring out how to use weapons and tools, and he just leads a herd of zombies towards Fiddler's Green, and as you expect, the rich eats itself, essentially. And then things just
as it should be.
Yeah, things fall apart, and this story is just a fun one to watch. It's actually one of the few that we actually got to see in the theaters, because we were poor back then. But we made a point to go see this in the theaters. Definitely glad we did. And we've actually met Eugene Clark a few times.
And he's awesome. He is truly a really awesome person. If you ever see him at a con and you're like, maybe, definitely go see him, talk to him. He's just great. Yep,
he's got good stories to tell.
He does.
He's usually dressed in character as Big Daddy. He's going to take multiple pictures with you. Yes. So it's definitely a good time to see him and check him out. And, you know, he's got a lot of other good stuff that's out there, too.
Yeah, he does. And his booth is always, or his table area where he is usually fully stocked with all kinds of stuff. I mean, he's got, like, everything. So, yeah, definitely go see him.
On August 4th, we have What Josiah Saw, a Shudder original.
Yeah. So after being away for 2 decades, Eli and Mary Graham are enticed to sell their childhood farmhouse in hopes of closing out a dark chapter of their past, but they are forced to confront long buried secrets and sins of the past. And this stars Robert Patrick as Josiah Graham. If you don't know who he is, you've been sleeping. And Nick Stahl as Eli Graham.
This should be like one of the key rules in a horror movie, right? Don't ever go back to a house, like a farmhouse or a house in the woods, when you have a haunted past, not meaning by ghosts, but by personal issues. Yeah. Now, this is a horror version of the movie Montana Story that we saw this year, which was very good, by the way. We did a write-up on it. It's on our Facebook page. Yeah. And it's got Robert Patrick in it. It's got the kid. Well, you know, it's kind of funny. They're both from Terminator in different parts of the franchise. Yeah. But, so this one looks interesting. It's going to have probably a lot of heavy drama as part of the horror, too. So.
Yeah, because of course the backstory on these houses and the secrets that it holds are always stem from some kind of family drama. So
yeah, so if you like movies like that where you're going to get a little bit of a dark past to these adults and how they grew up with their father, which is probably Robert Patrick in this is probably a good one to check out. It looks like one of the better ones that are coming out on Shudder this month, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. I really like Robert Patrick.
Alright, on August 18th, we have Glorious, which is a Shudder exclusive.
Wes's life is spiraling out of control after a breakup. To make matters worse, he finds himself trapped in the stall of a rest stop bathroom. That's never good. He is not alone, though. A mysterious figure played by J.K. Simmons begins to talk to him from an adjacent stall. Wes soon realizes that he is involved in a situation more terrible than he can imagine.
The trailer is very short. It's less than a minute.
Yeah.
But I was sold on J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
And literally, it wasn't a big clip of J.K. Simmons, but as soon as I saw him, I was like, that's J.K. Simmons. I'm in.
J.K. Simmons as a bad guy who is probably tied to some underground whatever, as long as it's not aliens, I'm good.
Yeah.
The twist would be he's smuggling people for aliens.
Yeah, I can't with the aliens. If it turns out to be aliens, I'm going to be really friggin' pissed off.
This movie kind of reminds me, even though it's not the same premise, it kind of reminds me of like Phone Booth.
Yeah.
You have Colin Farrell in the phone booth for all those hours. You're like, oh my god, how can they make a movie about a guy in the phone booth?
But they did.
And it was actually decent for the time that it came out. So
the time it came out, it was a decent movie. I enjoyed it. It's kind of edge of your seat, so, you know, maybe we'll get the same thing from a bathroom stall. I mean, hey, at least if you have to go to the bathroom, you can go, right? I mean, like, what was Colin Farrell going to do?
I don't know. So I guess, yeah, that kind of, yeah. Now at least he can do his business if he has to.
Yeah. Can't wash his hands, but, I mean, he's got more important things that are going on, so.
This is number 3 on my list of Shudder new movies to watch this month, so definitely want to check this one out. But it brings us to probably the better film of the month on Shudder, which is on August 26th, which you want to mark that down on your calendar. It is the movie Watcher.
As a serial killer stalks the city, a young actress who just moved to town with her boyfriend notices a mysterious stranger watching her from across the street in this terrifying thriller. We saw this movie at the Cinemark.
Yes. And kind of touched on this with the one review that we did with Emma Roberts in it, the movie, right? You have somebody either, and it's typically a female character. Really, come on, let's do it with the men too sometimes. But you have a couple that's moving to a new location, and the woman starts seeing things, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, are you going crazy? Or maybe the guy is cheating, or maybe the guy is the killer, or is this happening, or that, and it always follows the same formula, and this movie doesn't necessarily follow the same formula, but it's delivered and executed very well. So they'll have you guessing, trying to figure out things throughout the entire movie.
It doesn't necessarily follow that formula, but the inclinations are there throughout the film, I think. You know, your typical, like, oh, well, she's just nuts, and oh, it's definitely the boyfriend. Watch it and see. It's good.
I won't say it is as good as these movies, but if you like the movie Hush, if you like the movie Mute Witness, which came out, I believe, in the 80s, mid-80s, late 80s, then you're going to kind of like this film. It's a very good serial killer film. It's different, even though it has that formula that's out there. It's like, oh man, like I said, is she going nuts? Is she not going nuts?
They always want to say the woman's going nuts, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's in all the movies. Okay.
Now,
he married me. I mean, whatever.
We talked about when this came out and we saw it, was like, oh man, should we go ahead and film the review for this because we're kind of excited about it? Or should we film the review for it and have it roll out with the 31 Days of Halloween, which that's what we're going to do, is we'll talk about a full in-depth review there. But I think this month is probably the month that we can actually look and plot some hidden gems that are on Shudder and Netflix this month, because it is a lighter month for them, and we want everybody to get their full value out of Shudder. So we'll do some digging and find some movies that are in there, and we'll talk about it towards the middle of the month. Especially since I'm done with all of my heavy editing for 5 things, so we'll do a little bit of a. And here is the list of everything that is coming. It is a tiny list for Shudder in August. Stuff right now. All right.
So, as always, like, subscribe, and share.
Yes, and stay tuned. While we are battling the UK over the big contest giveaway that we're going to have on the show, we will be announcing very shortly all of the other stuff that we're going to be giving. So it's not just going to be this one main prize from when we hit a certain number, but we're going to have a movie, we have limited edition pins from Top Gun, we have posters, and we have a couple other things.
We've never even been to the UK, and now we're in a battle with them.
Yes.
Awesome.
Anyway, until the next.